Okay, so this is my do-it-yourself auger rack. Although I realize most people wouldn't be able to do it themselves because of the welding and stuff involved. It's really hard to find any YouTube videos or even Google images on auger racks. So I'm kind of posting this as more of, maybe it'll inspire an idea for somebody else to build or have someone else build it for them. Some of the advantages of this, the reason why I built this, was to get the auger rack kind of out in front of the original rack, the ATV rack. So it has still have room for some crates. I kind of like the crates. You know, and they're above the headlights. Just gives me a little more space, a little more room up front. Another advantage is I can keep an eye on the auger. It's right out in front of me. I can keep my minnow bucket here to make sure it's not splashing around and spilling. Bait is very important in the winter. Keep my flasher handy. Keep that where I can see it. Whatever I want to put right in front where I want to keep an eye on it. It is really sturdy. And I could rock this thing all day and it's not coming out of there. I'll have to use this for a while to figure out if there's things about it I don't like. One thing I don't like right now is on this clamp, you can kind of create a pinching point here. So it's just a matter of getting used to closing it like that. This edge isn't real sharp, but could create a pinching point. It's pretty easy to get in and out. Another disadvantage would be, you know, this isn't always going to be lined up perfect every time. So just to kind of play with it a little bit to get it in there properly. But most auger systems are going to be that way because the flighting changes as it's spun. Another disadvantage might be is I don't right now have a motor support. I may add one eventually. I'll see how this performs. I may put just a hitch pin in here and pull the power head off and just put it in one of my crates. Another advantage to this system is I got two clamps. A lot of them just have a single clamp, like a J-hook clamp. The motor end is so heavy. I mean, it's almost, it could almost just fall right out of there. Even just with one clamp. I like having two because now it's not going to go anywhere. Here's kind of the rack itself, looking from above. I got these shaft collars. I got 3 of them tied together, and then I got an upright and a cross brace, and you can kind of see the angle that it comes out, where it sticks out in front. Now the rest of the video I'm just going to kind of go through and build it. I'm going to go through it pretty quick. It's not going to be real descriptive. If you want to keep watching and see how I did some of it, you can. Otherwise now would be a good time to shut it off. Alright, so I'm building an auger rack. And I'm using these shaft collars, split collars, fastened to the frame of the four-wheeler, and I'm going to be using some 3/8 square stainless steel. The split collars I'm using are just mild steel because they're a heck of a lot cheaper than stainless steel. I'll be welding these cutting and welding the rod right to the shaft collar. I'm using 3 of them per corner. I got a special filler rod designed 309L, designed for welding, stainless steel to mild steel. The reason I chose stainless steel for the rest of the uprights on the auger rack was because it's actually pretty cheap. It's only about $1.31 a foot is what I paid. It's corrosion resistant, and it's a lot stronger than mild steel too. So I was able to get by with a little smaller size material. Okay, now that I got all the collars fastened on, my next step is going to be to measure and cut the stainless steel rods and bar stock. And what I'm going to do is I want to make a corner and connect all 3 of these kind of like that. I'm going to have a little gap here since this corner is rounded, so I'll have to fill that in somehow. And I'm going to use this corner to build some cross braces to my upright so that it's strong in every direction. Alright, I'm going to get the shaft collar right in the middle of that joint. So I'm going to try to use the 45 on my square. It's actually looking pretty good. Alright. Now I got to make a piece to fill that corner in. I'm actually going to just measure a piece straight out to here. I'm going to leave this little bit stick out on the end for a bungee to hook. I'm going to make a nice hooking point for a bungee. So my next step would be to cut this guy right there. Time to get the welder ready. Alright. Looks good. Alright, so I removed some of the black oxide. I don't want it to contaminate my weld, get a little bit nicer weld. I beveled the sides of these a little bit just for extra penetration, make it a little stronger. Again, the reason I didn't go with stainless steel shaft collars is because they were 3 times as expensive as a mild steel. They have about $100 in just the split collars. I didn't want to spend quite that much. Figured I can just paint it. Have to try to visualize this. Let's start with 18 inches. Alright, there's the basic frame for the auger rack. I could stop here and just strap it down with bungees, but I'm going to go a little further. Got some nice clamps that I want to use to clamp these. Got room for my crates. Hooking up with my 3 points here. That's sturdy as heck, it's not going nowhere. Alright, so here's a clamping system. I was able to obtain these clamps, save them from a scrap bin. They're on their way to the junkyard. I had to kind of build this up and get these clamps set at the right angle. The way these clamps work is here's their pivot point. This point has to get beyond that center line from where it's pulling. It's like right now it's right on the center line. And it could pop open, but once you get it beyond, it actually pulls it the other way. And it won't come out of there. The auger side is kind of the same thing. Here's your pivot point. It's going to pull. It's beyond there, just like that. I actually decided to build this up, make this static. Originally I was going to have it hinge out of the way, but it just kind of worked out better this way, and you know, this will be fine. It's a better look at the auger side. And then the shaft side. Without the shaft in there, it'll just fall down. So that's it. Now I'm just going to rubberize the contact areas and paint the rest. It'll be a finished product. Alright, so here's a completed auger rack. It's painted and rubberized. I just used spray paint and a plastic dip that I actually painted on all the contact areas. Is now a finished product.